Okay, now our next speaker is Stéphane. He's the director of technology at GENCI in France. He's also involved in various EuroHPC projects and in the Jules Verne consortium for the second EuroHPC Exascale. Yeah, Stéphane, I'm really curious to hear about the current status and roadmap toward the second European Exascale. Alice Recoque, please share with us.
Thank you very much, Eric. Thank you very much for this kind invitation. It's really a pleasure to be with you today, talking about Alice Recoque, so the second Exascale EuroHPC system, embedded inside a post-Exascale vision. So first, I will start with a few words about GENCI. So we are the French HPC agency. We are in charge of providing access to researchers from academia and industry to supercomputers, quantum computers, and something which is as important for me is user support. So we served last year more than 2,400 research projects, academia, industry, basic research, applied research, HPC, AI, and quantum. And this cocktail is quite exotic, so there is no magic machine addressing all the needs for the moment. So we have 3 national centers, and in each national center, we have a different architecture. I will focus much more on the one on the left, of course, the computing center of CA, which is the hosting site of Alice Recoque. For the moment, on this computing center, we have a scalar machine in which we are running HPC simulation, but also we are also attaching, it has been said by Anders previously, quantum computers. So we started our quantum journey in France already 3 years ago, and now we are able to attach 3 quantum computers from different architecture, which are owned by the French state or co-owned and shared, or also owned by EuroHPC. So we have Ruby, which is based on neutral atoms, Lucy, which is based on photonics, and we just announced a third one, which is called Kitty, based on 4 qubits. So the thing I'm going to display to you is that this machine, Jules Curie, will be replaced next year by Alice Recoque. Then the 2 other systems are much more based on GPUs, so NVIDIA or AMD GPUs. And what is interesting to mention on this slide that among the 2,400 research projects we did last year from academia and industry, 70%, so roughly 1,700, are AI related, meaning AI for AI, so it could be NLP, vision, robotics, agentic, as well as something which is growing aggressively since 2 years, it's AI for science. So in biology, in health, in climate, material science, etc., etc. So if we talk about what are your users, so we are serving users from academia, public services, and industry. So of course, you know some of these logos are French institutions, which are much more focused in specific domain sciences. But with AI came a new generation of users for us, public services, Ministry of Defense for dual use, as well as a lot of institutions. For example, the French police during the Olympics, they trained AI models for deepfakes and other stuff like that. Our facilities are also open for industry. So it's free of charge for open research, but we are supporting industry since more than 10 years. So on this slide, you have a list of the users using our facilities. So on the top right, you have large-scale companies, and the rest of the world is AI startups mainly. So when in France people say AI is dominated by startup, there is a clear empiric proof. So what is interesting, beyond the number and some logos, which are quite known for some of you, it's much more the variety. So in France, AI is everywhere, in biology, in material science, in NLP, in vision, in legal, in sport, etc., etc. And you will understand with this slide why in AI Factory later we decide to cover so many verticals. So we are part of AI Factories. So we are one of the 19 AI Factories and antennas, sorry. So we are very happy to also be paired with our colleague from Ireland. So they are going to launch their AI Factory next week in Dublin. But it's really interesting. So I think it will be much more covered later by the presentation of my Swedish colleague. But we have a quite huge partnership. My slide set is cursed. So we have a very nice partnership from academia and innovation. And what we are doing, like any AI factory, is to address the triple stake of AI: compute, data, and skills. For compute, for example, we are going to give access to our facilities as well as Alice Recoque. But we are also going to give access to private facilities because it's important to have this continuum of sovereign HPC facilities from public to private. In data, we are going to open datasets because data is the heart of the battle in AI. So we need to connect more datasets to our supercomputers. In the field of skills, it's important to attract, train, retrain, and retain people. So we are going to have a lot of action, especially with universities for training people. So we have all this partnership. We have a lot of other partners which are not funded but coming from industry, and these guys are going to provide us the vision and the additional services on the AI factory side. So as I told you, we decided to go on 12 application verticals, so it's quite ambitious. Perhaps we're not going to fulfill all of them, but it's important if you remember the number of logos that we support all these communities. Some example, health. Health is the biggest user of AI facilities in France. We have tens of startups using in a regular way our HPC facilities. Material science, which is quite important. Robotics, which is for me the holy grail of AI with physical AI. As well as, for example, cyber and defense. I think we are the only AI factory in Europe supporting cyber and defense for dual use, etc., etc. But it's not enough. We know that there are many things we cannot do with current systems, so the ones I was showing to you. For example, if I take the example of Airbus, it's impossible in one day or one night, for example, to simulate a full airplane with all the physics. If we take the example of digital twins, we don't know for the moment how to model your full body for going to personal medicines. If we go to the climate modeling, we are not able for the moment to predict extreme events at a proper scale. If we go on AI side, I put the logo of Le Chat, but we could take any other example in frontier AI. We need bigger supercomputers for training the next generation of models. This requires Exascale. But Exascale is not possible at the French level. That's why I took the slide of Anders, but that's why we decided, France and others, to be united through EuroHPC. And this is typically the answer we provide in this global race with US and China and Japan as well. So the ambition we are conveying on the Exascale side is to be the second Exascale system with a project called Alice Recoque. So the consortium is called Jules Verne, but the project, the machine is called Alice Recoque. When I say we, I say France, the Netherlands, and Greece. So we are all together in this journey of Exascale. We invest with EuroHPC close to $500 million in TCO over 5 years on this machine, which is be hosted and operated by CEA at TGCC. In this endeavor, in the French side, we are coming with public entities as well as also industrial users, mentioning, for example, Airbus, EDF, Total, and Safran, also putting some money on the table with us and sharing the same vision. So why? So the goal of Alice Recoque is to continue what we started already at the national level, so to open and support research communities from academia, industry, and public services. Of course, this machine will do this at scale, at a new scale, thousands of GPU. I cannot disclose the number for the moment. But the goal is really also to why this machine is not an Exascale system. It's a post-Exascale system because this machine is going already to shape some services you will find in post-Exascale systems. For example, the way to integrate both HPC, AI, and quantum resources. So the 3 quantum computers we have will be unplugged for Jules Curie and replugged on Alice Recoque. Alice Recoque being the first Exascale system to be accelerated by quantum accelerators. We need to be cautious on quantum. I don't want to oversell, but it's very important to take this path and to allow communities to assess the potential of quantum computing. It's also a post-Exascale system because we are also going, for example, to ingest data from large-scale instruments and infer data on the fly. So the idea will be to develop the massive use of digital twins by being paired with, for example, large-scale instruments, satellite, telescopes, sequencers, IoT, etc., etc. And also, what is also important is and it's been said by Anders, and I will come back to that. The vision we had on Alice Recoque was we wanted to have the most European supercomputer in Europe. So after decades of investment, it was time to put more Europe inside the machine, and you will see why later. So important, the computing site is ready now. We did a lot of works for welcoming Alice Recoque, the slab reinforcement, the IT room preparation. We increase, of course, the warm water capacities, as well as the electrical power to 24 megawatt. So, and we did that with a computing center in production. So it was quite a challenge, but it has been done properly, and I really want to thank the team of CA. So Alice Recoque, in a nutshell, is based, so it has been announced last supercomputing. It has been awarded to BULL. It was evident previously. It will rely on the new X-3000 generation with hot water cooling, with a very interesting power consumption, thanks to the use of the GPU. And we have two compute partitions. One, which is holding the Exascale challenge. It's called the unified partition, in which we are going to rely on CPU from AMD and next generation of GPU from AMD called MI430. What is interesting on this one, it's also post-Exascale vision, is that we are going to address on a multi-tenant way, so at the same time, scalar and accelerated workload on the same node. So we are going to partition the node for running at the same time the two kinds of workloads. What is also interesting, if we talk about European technologies, is that we have the infrastructure from BULL, but we have, yes, I need to finish. We also put a network. So the network is European, is coming from BULL, and we have, for example, 2 links per GPU coming from BULL. And also, the last point on Europeanness is that we have also a standalone scalar partition based on SiPEARL processor. So we are going to have 100,000 cores coming from SiPEARL, Rhea2 generation, so the one after the one on Jupiter, and we really look forward to develop this European characteristic. Rapidly, I will finish. It's not only a question of hardware, software, it's a question of men and women. So we are already starting an application support team able to prepare the rise of Alice Recoque, support the communities, and put you available some different technologies before Alice Recoque. And the path, the machine will be installed next year, end of next year at TGCC. We are preparing the installation. And in the meantime, we start to work with the communities. And I think it's what my last slide. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Stéphane. Thank you. Very interesting. So please sit over there.